Hello and welcome back to all of you also that are watching us on YouTube. We're beginning with the second panel of the first day of the conference, and this second panel is titled Transforming the Periphery, Street Art and the Reappropriation of Space. We will begin with the panel with Christian Giarini, researcher in philosophy and art history, specialist in contemporary arts and more specifically in street art. He has published articles in scientific journals and books as well as in general public journals on street art, such as Street Art magazine. His sociological and anthropological approach of graffiti and street art can be seen in a 1-hour documentary he made in 2021 for the online TV Kulturgnum. He is associate researcher at the IMCIC, or Creamed Laboratory at the University of Toulon, and president of the association Nouvelle Mémoire. He will talk about graffiti and vandal street art from the periphery of Urbex wasteland to the cultural third places in France, in which he will explain what third places are and how the art in them interacts with outside world. I believe Christian is already with us. Christian, I hope we can hear each other. Can you hear us? Okay, we can hear Christian at the moment. Just a moment. You are on mute. Can you just unmute yourself, please? You have microphone off. Can you just press the microphone? Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I have to share my my slides.
Are we showing the slides?
I share my slides.
Yeah. Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, you are totally free to show them now. But we don't see them at the moment yet. Now we have them. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can begin?
Yes, you are free to begin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I would like to thank the conference organizers for inviting me. And I'm sorry I couldn't come, and so I do this talk remotely. So the title of my talk is Graffiti and Vandal Street Art from the Periphery of Urbex Wasteland to the Cultural Third Places in France. In France, the concept of TLC, tiers-lieux culturels, which refers to Ray Oldenburg's Third Places in his famous book, The Great Good Places, and on which I work in an international scientific team. This concept is still difficult to define because it concerns very different collaborative spaces where takes place the desire of communities, of citizens and artists to share, to exchange, to invent the future. Among them are many previously abandoned industrial wastelands, such as the tobacco factory La Belle de Mai in Marseille, called the Friche, so I call it the Friche. Here it is. It's a roof, the new roof of the Friche in Marseille. The Conditions Publiques in Roubaix in the north of France and everywhere, the shipyards in the south of France, and the 109, the 109 in Nice. Here it is. Here is a photo of a place in it, etc. And I am going to show these two TLC, Nice and Marseille. In the first part, of my talk. But not all brownfield sites can become TLC, and many are still abandoned and so offer various illegal forms of art, essentially proto-graffiti and painting walls. We studied this in our many explorations, which can be labeled urbex, urban exploration of abandoned places, and which aim to cross-reference three cultures that mix in these places and see how they interact with the outside world. We were interested in industrial and graffiti and street art history, and through these explorations, we quickly evolved towards a multidisciplinary approach: sociology, anthropology, and art history, of course, and of graffiti and street art, and philosophy. Last year, we made a documentary on this subject in such a place. Here it is. It's a little room of this place. And I will present it very quickly at the end of my talk. So first, the Friche de la Belle de Mai in Marseille, the second great town in France after Paris and the Mediterranean seaside. The Friche is in its prototypal form, slowly arose from 1992 out of the new models for urban cultural interaction in the public interest, not now known as third places or cultural third places, so TLC in France. This unique reinvented space here brings together artistic activity, modes of urban transformation, real connection to the country, and dynamic cooperation. The Friche is now both a workspace for 70 resident organizations, 400 artists, producers, and employees work here every day, and a cross-disciplinary venue. Each year, over 600 artistic events are offered to the public. But before the Friche became a third place, it was one of France's largest factories, the CETA. This tobacco factory employed nearly 1,000 women and men until it shut down in 1990. Here it is before, when it shut down, and here it is now during its evolution. After this date, 1990, and for many years, it first became a large urbex in the center of the city, place where many people came illegally and wrote many things on the walls, tags, graffiti, political message, and then more elaborated works of art evolving towards what is now called street art. But it was also an artist squat until the early 2000s. So the occupiers of those places grouped together in a cooperative society of collective interest in a real free, it's important, this word, free urban project and they obtained an amphitheatric lease from the city of Marseille. A theater, creative workshops, a skate park, a restaurant, the studios of a local radio station, etc., were first located here. The biggest change of this place, and of all this place, came in 2013, the year Marseille has been the European capital of culture. Upgrades were made to accessibility and circulation, new workspaces were installed, the panorama exhibition space and 2 concert halls were added. The major construction project of that year also made the rooftop accessible, adding the 8,000 square meters of the open air space with a stunning view on the city and the sea. So today, every year, 450,000 visitors come to this 45,000 square meters public space where take place many events. But one can also therefore find in this space ambiguous space-power relations from the point of view of the liminal and extra-institutional practices of street art, as well as their synergies with other conceptual and official approaches. Here, for example, always spontaneous vandal and illegal works in this place. Here, sometimes pure graffiti, sometimes political, sometimes literary, sometimes the kind of art brut, outsider art. It's very interesting to read what is written on these walls. And here, in the skate park, one can see intermediate expressions and works between legal and illegal. And so legal, the ace, illegal. And then after that, official on the rooftop. For example, this big wall, legal and expensive. This artwork of Rimed, a letter to Marseille. I translated it, this text here. Art is extroverted introspection. I was afraid of forgetting why I paint. I write and I remember, so I feel. From then on, I have all my time. Marseille, I live with you. From now on, I exist in this moment. Yes, here is very legal street art. And here is the rooftop seen from this wall. So, it was the example of the friche of Marseille. Secondly, the old slaughterhouses in Nice, Côte d'Azur, the 109. Here they are. After having been an urbex site for many years, these slaughterhouses have become an essential interface for contemporary creation in the local, national, and international cultural landscapes, thanks to the coordination of the actions carried out by the site's protagonists and a diverse and ambitious programming within the site, which focuses on different types of cultural, artistic, and societal problems of our time. Here it is, here's the place of it. So after significant works on its transformation, the 109 allows the reception of many major players in Nice's cultural life. The project is entering a second phase of consolidation of its objectives with the installation of 29 municipal visual artists workshop, the Forum d'Urbanisme and Architecture, the Entrepont, the federation of some 45 and applied performance associations, the Antipode Dance Company, the Botox, the Alps and Côte d'Azur Contemporary Art Network, and the Hublot Training and Digital Creation Place, etc., etc. It is still an alternative place where you can find free art, graffiti, street art, music, theater, etc. But here it is, the official aspect, and here what you can always find in free art. But from free, it's becoming more official and controlled every day because it's financed by local authorities and sponsors. So here, for example, official, the wall of the great artist Ben and some artworks of artists of graffiti and street art, but official. So here is what one can see, the transition between illegal and free and legal but controlled, like in Marseille and other TLC in France and in the world. So those two examples ask us about the becoming of the cultural third places in France, because the same things are noticed in the others one in the country. What happens to the concept of total freedom of expression and experience of these places, which is the basis of their existence and is a part of their definition, and which were initially considered as extra-institutional and subpolitical and subcultural places. That's the question. And it was a central question for the conference we organized in Toulon, here in France, last March, and 2-volume books will be published on this issue following this conference in a few months. Thus, here took place this conference in the Creators Sport, Toulon. It's also a cultural third place, a TLC. Thus, in terms of graffiti and street art, our numerous visits to urbex locations enabled us, by talking with the artists and looking at the works they were producing, to understand that the gradual loss of their total freedom in official TLC lead them to regain their freedom in these truly abandoned urbex locations. 3 of them bear witness to this in a documentary film we made, so in an abandoned military factory. I've not enough time to show you parts of this documentary and to give you some details. Here they are. Nectu, A16 et Noips, which are artists of street art, and but would like to come back to these urbex free places. And the problem also in these places, the problem is that this form of street art in places that are a priori forbidden and where non-standard artists are still free to express themselves can seduce also official institutions and some TLC. These places are therefore sometimes recovered, which saddens their free artists. So I finish this talk with this example in La Seine-sur-Mer on the Mediterranean seaside too, with these abandoned shipyards where official touristic visits are now organized. Here. Oh, thank you. It's good for the time. Okay, thank you.
So this was Christian Gerini, and we will continue with Helena Conda, PhD student on interdisciplinary doctoral program in the Humanities and Social Sciences of Faculty of Arts and Faculty of Social Sciences of University of Ljubljana. She's currently working on her doctoral thesis on graffiti practices from underground activities to art galleries. She published scientific articles and the scientific monograph Graffiti in Ljubljana, The History, the Graffitists, the City. Title of her presentation is Proto-Street Art in Ljubljana in the 1980s and 1990s, Symbolic and Aesthetic Transformation of Decaying Public Space into a Renowned Alternative Cultural Center, Metelkova, where also a couple of events from the festival are held. She will focus on 3 examples of proto-street art: environmental activists MISART, collective stripcore, and academic painting tandem Tina Drčar and Bine Skrt. I invite Helena to join me here.
Thank you, Pia, for this introduction. And thank you for inviting me. Thanks. So my presentation will be similar to the previous one, but I will emphasize the styles of the artists who are included in my presentation. Basically, this is a visual essay. I will present 3 collectives: MISART, Stripcore, and Tina and Bine. As it was said before, as Pia introduced, MISART is the first collective that basically did street art long before that term was established. So let's just start with them, because then we can continue with pictures. MISART was created with students of fashion, painting, and design. Their names are there. Darja Šipec, Barbara Abram, Boštjan Franc Augustin, Dušan Šuštaršič, Matic Golja, Aleš Hočevar, and Primož Karba. Nowadays, only Primož Karba is still very active, and he carries on the MISART legacy. MISART was different from other graffiti artists or street artists because they didn't use spray paint. They didn't create aerosol art. They decided to use liquid paint and brushes because the technique enabled them to be more precise, and also because of the environmental reasons. They were very big on environment. What they did was a lot of outside work. They did graffiti, illegal graffiti, provocative, against army, but they also did a lot of semi-legal graffiti. They painted a lot of interiors of clubs. They painted outside. And their work was also used for other stuff like films, videos, posters, books, and other publications. They created also a gallery that represented other artists. This is one of their first works in 1988, I forgot how to pronounce that. So you can see these beautiful paintings. That's basically a painting, not a graffiti. They were aware of the wild style that was very big then, but they chose their own style. So that's still the Ring, Sint-Vith, where I used to grow up, and I used to see that as I was a child, so they made a huge impact on me. Their environmental side was heavily shown by these posters. They were annually working together with the municipality, and they were producing these beautiful posters for the Day of Earth Day, which is every April 22 since 1970s. Of course, they started in the 80s. So they were basically hired to promote environmental subjects. You can see this is an example of their paintings. By now you could see the difference in their styles. They are very heterogeneous, even inside of their group. Like the interior design, you see like this toilet, they used really amazing, very few colors and such a great effect. And those paintings are really precise. They are very masterful illustration. So here there is a combination of their old work, the collage of photos from one location that they did decades ago, and up there that's their recent work. Primož Karba is often using fluorescent paint so that the effect is even greater when the light is turned off. he combines that with the musical events. This is one of the outside works. Do you recognize that? This is Metelkova, but it doesn't look like that now. So this is also something that they did. It makes the place really nice and luring. One just wants to sit there and drink a cup of coffee or something. This is their, well, basically not the logo, but that's written on the entrance into their atelier, into the gallery. So again, many styles, completely different techniques, and they are still operating. Next case that I'm presenting is stripcore. What is interesting about them is that they were the musicians first. They started from hardcore community. That was the last wave of punk community in Ljubljana. The members of stripcore have, of course, changed during the years, but they are Katarina Mirović-Katra, Božo Rakočević, Jani Mujić, Pero, Izi, Rok, Boris, Samo, Damjan Kocijančić, Tera, Rok, Siberer, Kuri, Jakub Klemenčić, Boris Bačić, Igor Prasel, and others. Well, as they work together with other artists, they often collaborate, but they don't take membership of the group. So also Tina Dercher collaborated with them. With Mizart, they were together when they started to squat on the first day of the squatting of Metelkova. So the collaboration is great, but not all the time, of course. So the stripcore is basically a collective, musical band that is a part of Forum Ljubljana, which is the Institute for Art and Cultural Production established in 1994. And it's dedicated to production, presentation, and popularization of visual events, new media, and comics, especially on comics. They are big. They have Stripburger. Well, they have really a lot of projects. Basically, they don't do graffiti anymore, but they still do have graffiti artists who do other work, especially strips, comic books. Their annual programs involve up to 200 artists, and they have a lot of activities for children, workshops, and the students. They do a lot of work with academies and college and universities and stuff like that. So these are just a few of their of the work, of the stuff that they did. They were the first group from Yugoslavia, that means quite a big region, that was involved in an international graffiti contest. That was in Italy, May 1990. The title was Coloriamo lo Sport. The same year, they went to Netherlands on the Prispevki festival. They did graffiti there too, and also had the exchange with Netherlands, with another group from there. Also, a few other exhibitions. One of the first one was in Konferenca Periferija, also a great place in Ljubljana. You probably know about it. They had a concert and an exhibition. I would like to emphasize that as they started to do graffiti, that was at the beginning the promotion of their band. They were using this technique solely for the promotion. That's very common here in Slovenia. Also 1107 used that. So, but then they discovered that this technique enables them to make a unique scenography. So Božo Rakočević, who was also the lead singer, he developed a great skill with production of this graffiti on mobile surfaces. They were also doing regular graffiti. We will see that. So a few other examples. Graffiti in Trst, Trieste in 1992. Then they were big on posters. The example that is written is a collaboration with another very big Slovene artistic group, Novi Collectivism, New Collectivism. Some members of theirs are basically they are all connected to Neue Slowenische Kunst, and a part of that is Irvin, and like they work with Abramovich, so they are really big, globally speaking. So they hired Stripcore to make graffiti for the 100th anniversary of the Slovene National Opera, and they made these great posters jumbo posters that were hanged around Ljubljana, and they are preserved in a safe now. One of the last exhibitions, basically the last one, was in 2004. The biggest exhibition of graffiti so far in Slovenia. It was in International Center of Graphic Arts, MGLC, that we use that abbreviation. Well, that's how we mark the entrance of graffiti into the field of high art in Slovenia. That is one of their earliest work, Channel Zero. I would like to emphasize that when Metelkova was squatted, it was really an abandoned place, and soon they lost water, electricity, so nothing was working. That was a big, scary place, and they were the only ones, or really one of the only ones. There were 7 people for the first 2 years that were there, living there, producing there, and painting the interior places and having daily and night events, so that basically they were establishing the ground so that it couldn't be like demolished or emptied and completely wasted. This is one of the work on the wall, the outside work. It was used for the cover of the notebooks without them being paid, so that's quite a problem because the art is respected and used, but they are not monetizing that. Well, they went abroad a lot, and usually as they were traveling on tours with their band, but sometimes they also had just exhibitions. You can see one of their work there, Japanese, again, a very different style from before. Bodo was developing his work, and also other members contributed. So this is his very significant, like a signature thing. He used a combination of stencils, and he moved that across the canvas and did this sort of magical creatures and monsters. I should mention Katra. She's the manager of Sipkor for 30 years, for even more, and she collaborated with Mizart, with Tina Dircher. She's really the backbone of those events, because she has the professional approach and keeps archives, and also worked very hard so that this scene is operating. And on the wall you can see also Spaceman, Božo's graffiti, mobile graffiti, which is also used very often in their videos during their shows. So we will, at the end of my presentation, we will have a look at some of the recordings, probably 1 or 2, when we will see how they projected their graffiti onto their bodies as they were performing. A really interesting technique. Well, they didn't know about laser graffiti then. They used usual projectors, but because of the smoke in the clubs, because that was still allowed there at that time, they really needed a very strong projectors. Okay, the third case that I'm presenting is Tandem, Tina Dircher and Bine Skrt, Tina Bine, usually we call them. They collaborated as students together, as they met on the academy, and they worked together on a few works. Their tandem ended in 2005, but they still collaborated in 2013. They still had some work together. They made some of the most visible features on Metelkova. Basically, Tina later worked alone. She was very important on urban art projects. That was the project that was decorating the buildings and public areas of the Akademia Metelkova. She did a lot of windows and public toilets, and I mean, really, her work you will see. That's their style. Brushes, paints, very artistic. You can see that they really are, that these are murals. They are, they know the art history, they use that. She knew about Keith Haring and everything, but she chose her own style. I mean, they chose their own style. This is also one of the graffiti that they don't look much, but if you know the story behind that, it's really moving. She was involved in a humanitarian project alone. That's not a tandem work anymore. And she was in Šutka working with Roma children, and they made stencils, and they decorated their own primary school there. So as she came back from that, where she taught these children, she produced a similar work on the wall of Metelkova. This is called Deka iz Šutke, basically patchwork, or the cover from Šutka. That was in 2011. As you will see on Metelkova, you will definitely, sometime in the past, you have probably noticed these beautiful sea creatures. That's Tina's work. She was changing that work from 2014 to 2015 and 2016. And this is the latest contribution, Dead Fish, from 2020, and this is her contribution to Corona time, because she wanted to emphasize the decay, the death. I will also use her words to emphasize another point, basically a problem. As street artists and graffiti artists, as they do their work, they usually, they are liked, they are praised, but they do not monetize what they do. Usually the monetization goes into other pockets. So as she said in an interview for some magazine, as an author I get too little, while others own my art as street art. Anyone who comes to Metelkova can photograph it, decorate the cover of their book, newspaper, or television show with these motifs without mentioning the author of the painting. My art is everywhere and authorship is nowhere. She does sign her work everywhere, but, that's a problem. Let's not forget that. All three cases that I presented, all three collectives were creating in different areas, but their domicile point, their ateliers are at Metelkova. They also contributed significantly to its look, to the way people feel there, to attract tourists and everything. Metelkova, as you know, is the biggest squat in Slovenia and also Europe's most successful urban squat. There are no other squats that would endure that time. They were either evicted or legalized. So nowadays, Metelkova is an alternative cultural center, a variety of different artistic practices and events. They host all sorts of people and all groups of population. It is also one of the best-known attractions of Ljubljana. They host very rich guests from all over the world, and there are also a lot of migrants without legal papers hanging out there all the time. So my research was concluded in this book that was the end of my master's. It's online, reachable online, but it's in Slovene, so graffiti in Ljubljana, history, graffitist, and the city. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you for your attention. But we will have a look at the video. How they use them for scenography and protection of the bodies. So, thank you again, and have a nice conference.
Thank you, Helena. Well, I can say luckily Chris Parkinson won't be able to come today because we're gonna be very late. So please, I would like to ask other lecturers to stick to their time frame. And we will continue with two artist presentations. First will be Epos 257 or 257, presenting Fire Mountain, life behind the edge of society. Coming from Prague, Czech, he focuses on contemporary social topics and regularly addresses issues surrounding public space. His identity remains unknown until now, but his work, Fire Mountain, is not unknown, for it was realized in the institutional and partly in the public space. Let us hear more about it from the author himself.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for inviting me. I will represent my project, which is also part of my PhD. I start as a graffiti writer, and like through this, I think when you are doing graffiti, you get known the city from really different perspective. And this is what is really the most important for me from this experience. Oh, sorry, I cannot move the picture. Perfect. Thank you. So I will be really... Oh. Again? No. No. It's not working. Yeah. No. Yeah, sure. It would be cool. I think you can continue the pictures because I have lots of pictures, and yeah. So there is some my observations of the wastelands and terrain walks and brownfields. And first, I was really obsessed of the aesthetics, how the things look like, and that I knows the spaces from my childhood, and that I know. Can you go quicker? Yeah. That I am already used to those spaces and know how to handle with those spaces. I already know what kind of people are in those spaces, and what people lived in those spaces, and for them is the place for living, you know, for for us was place where we go to get the fun, smoke joints, doing graffiti. But through those years, I met those people where they really live their lives in those spaces, and they are like living proof of those spaces itself. And then I start to talk to those people and try to record it, their life, and try to make the history of them, because nobody really don't care about them. It's there is a lot. Now I'm speak about the homeless people, but there is a lot of different differences between those people. There are a lot of people living directly on the street, but also lots of them they are living in those bushes and in the wastelands. And they don't care to be that much seen, you know. But on the other hand, they are still really connected with our daily life. They do some side jobs. They try to survive. And one of my installation in 2018 from one of my exhibition, in the end, it was black box for some installation, and then I decided. The gallerist told me, "Okay, you can do whatever you want after the exhibition with your piece." It was a big group street art festival in Prague, 2008, and then I decided it's best to put it just in trash. So I rebuilt this building and make a small living space for one couple, two homeless, and I will make research to whom I give this place. And then they was a little bit afraid to start living there, because they was afraid to, when they will start live there, the police came and will shut down the building. So I need to connect the police and make protection of them, that it means something, that the police also saw that it's for something, and it was interesting reason that if there was some authority, and I was that time student on the university on my master's, that they allowed it, and it starts living in own life, this place, and it's still there. It's from 2008 till now, and one of the person is the couple was split after 12 years, but it's still the same couple. Hey, can you be quicker, please, with the pictures? There are some pictures during the, like, really quicker, like. And it's under the bridge, and it started to be part of the landscape. There was repairing the bridge. That there was scaffolding around. You can see on other pictures. And through this project, and I was with those people in contact for a really long time, and that I really get to know what's the life on the street and on those places does it mean. And we became really friends. It was hard for me that they split in the end. It was I don't know, 5 years ago now already, and but for the woman, she start living her own life, and she is now in flat, get the job, like regular job, and for her it was more win situation, or how to say. It's me with my friend. We slept outside, and through this project I also mapping another spaces. Like I want to be you really quick, like every picture 3 seconds, you know. Because I have lots of pictures, and yeah. And then I was more focusing about the whole problematic, and in such more different spaces. And through this, we also make small documentary movie with my friend. And through this, I found one really interesting place, which people from the street called Fire Mountain, in Czech Dýmová hora, and because they are coming there, burned the copper cables to, like electric cables, to get the copper from it. And I also mapped the surroundings around in whole space, and it was kind of a legend that every homeless people, like in this, like such a big neighborhood, know about this place. And they use several places how to survive. This is the neighborhood of the Fire Mountain, and I start mapping their daily lives, what they do in like how they get the money, what's their like fun jokes, everything. And this place was going to be developed. So I was start to be also the part of the changes of this landscape, and how the place was changed. This is Marcel, is the founder of the Fire Mountain, and he stand on the place where was Fire Mountain was before. Now there is kindergarten, and we continue with documentary movie of this whole area. I make also small maps. This is the fires where the people burning the cables, like they did in really like huge fires. It was incredible, and also really toxic. It's really dirty job. Like you be smoked from the fire. Like it's really tough smell. And I start collecting all those things from their daily life and archive them. And in the end, I confronted the city and the people with this part of the city that they don't know, or they don't want to know. And I was thinking about, like, if I will make like classic contemporary show, it will be less respect for whole this situation. So I decided to make a show in the classic museum, like city municipal museum. It takes me almost 4 years to convince them, like that this show needs to be there. And I really became a friend with the people from the Fire Mountain too. This is the drawing of Fire Mountain from Maradona. He's 60 years old. It's kind of old age on the street. It's like lots of people died younger. This is Lenin. I found that Lenin has side job is going to the archaeology, like he helps to archaeologists, and so I told him, hey, let's do the archaeology of some big fire from the cables, and so we did archaeology of one space where was similar of Fire Mountain. It was different space, and that it was the part of the show. This is the photo from the show in the museum. It was like a classic museum show, and it has lots of emotions around it. Like lots of people, and audience was I don't know how to say in English. Like there was they don't like it, you know. They don't accept it that, oh, this couldn't be in the museum, like this is waste, you know. This is like the city couldn't be proud to show this, you know. And but I really like that I confront the society with what it's part of the society, what is part of the city, like that and confrontate the city itself, like with this reality. And then I recognize, because the people on the street, they don't easily show you what's their life or what was their life before. You need to get them closer, and they don't believe their surroundings. They don't believe. It's to be a friend on the street. It's really difficult, and it's hard to be friends on the street. To be honest, it's a different type of society. And but I recognize that Marcel, the founder of the Fire Mountain, it was a stonemason before he started living on the street. So I motivated him that we will do the monument for Fire Mountain. The sentence, it's from him, and it's like Fire Mountain. We was there. We lived there. We are not there anymore. Goodbye. And we did several meetings with people to invite, like, people that they want to heard, like. And they want to know what's the street, what's the life on the street. How much time I have? I hope I still have some time. Then I decided to get the direct experience, like that I will start live on the street for. In the beginning, I think, oh, okay, 2 weeks. I will try to survive without money, without anything. And then in the end, I was there 23 nights. And it was really like one of my best experience in my life, but also very hardcore. And I like since this, I was already like more than 15 years with experience of homeless people, but this was really changed my. It was another level, like that take me to the that I know, like, I don't know, 50% before, and then takes me so deep and so gone that I start to really know how hard is for them, like what they need to do, and like how is their strategy how to survive, and that if you go outside from the place where you stay, everybody could come and steal your things, you know, and so you need to have taking care like the most important things for you all the time with you, or you will lose it. I'm now working on the book of this project. I hope it will be published next year, and it's based on interviews with those people. It's like 70% of the books is just interviews with people on the street. This is through the show. We also make big conference, invite politicians also, and this is students of from my university and also from the University of Architecture, and together we built another small house for Maradona, and he was part of it, like that. He was a client for the students, like that they will listen him like what he wants to have, and it was really nice to see the students how they get in touch and get to know what's this life about, and also it was inspired politicians. My project with the small shelter, which I give to those people, because I presented several times at Peča Kucha at some conferences, and but I get too close to this, and this project it started in Prague 9, this part of Prague. And for some people, it's really good that they have their place, and they know how to survive, and they want to live better. You know, it's really like if you have experienced that every 2 years you need to move because some came and destroy whole your house. What you try to build, and if this happens to you 2 or 3 times during 5 years, it's you really lose your motivation to how to get out of this, you know. And this is really circle, and this is big part of a problem of this problematic. And but it has also the part that the police really control them, and this is another politicians that they convince people. It was their campaign between the elections. No homeless people in the city. So they try to force the homeless people, like go out from the city or go out from our neighborhood, you know. Then I start to compare how was the conditions like 100 years before, or how was the conditions in the history. And some of the places, because there was not that much pressure of the capitalization. You can start to be slower. I'm almost finishing. So, in the past, the capitalization of the land was not that high, and there was places like in the suburb of the city that people don't care that much, and some of the part of the city it built itself like this, that there was still a place that poor people can survive and build their own houses and lands like this. But the conditions of nowadays, like there is no this type of opportunity like that. When you are really, really poor, or if you lose your life and you want to start again, like really from the bottom, it's almost impossible. Like to start like this, you know. This is the small garden colony, which was part of the old freight railway station, and they shut it down, and now it's empty. There is nothing for. It's look like this after 5 years. and I recognize through my research and that people who live more than 10 years or 15 years on the streets, they every year or almost every year they have to change their places for living, and this is the most the biggest part of this problem, that the homelessness is look like nowadays like this, that this is the same place which is gone, and they put the people out, and after half year, you can make another image. After half year, there start a new generation of new homeless people. This is my end of the presentation, and I hope you will enjoy it. And
thank you very much for the presentation. And since technician asked me to do a little break, I think it's better if we do Q&A with Epos right now. So if maybe anyone has question for Epos, now would be great time to ask. Maybe, yeah, we have one question there.
Yeah, it's like more, I'm curious about, I know about the project where you started to live with the homeless people, and I'm wondering how your body reacted in this, like you didn't mention anything about this.
Oh yeah, no, it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I was really surprised how fast you start to be used to it. And to be honest, I was there at the summer, so it's really different if you are there like during winter. But most of the researches about living people on the street or without home is that like during first 2 years there is chance that you can be part of the society. Like again, like you get out like from it, 50%. But after 2 years is around 15 or 10%. It's really changed that you really lose your motivation, and also you don't have you start to be used to it, to this life. And I was really surprised how I start to used to be in just 3 weeks, And after 2 weeks, police checked me on the street, and I don't give my ID, and I said, "Oh, I don't have my ID here," and they said, "Oh, okay, tell me your initials," and They checked me in the place where I start to live in the bush, and I started to tell them, oh, it's like my project, like PhD, and he after 2 sentences he told me, oh, I know a lot of this story, so now your initials, please. So he don't believe me, and he think like that I'm already on the streets like for a long time. And to back to your question, on the street you are really wake up early if you can, and you went to sleep with the sun. It's like really at 8, 9 where it's going to dark, you are already at your home, and most of the biggest daily thing what we do, we walk on the containers with paper, and take the paper and and coming to Sbierna, where they buying the paper from you. I don't know how to say in English. And every day we bring 30 kilograms of paper, and you walk like 5 kilometers with 30 kilograms, and sleeping in the bush, and you start to be devastated. It's like I bring my like stencils that I make some drawings and those stuff, and I don't really have time for anything else. I just taking care about where to get the water, how I get some money, and the food was not that problem, because we all the food I found on the street. I was after five days. I was really afraid that I don't have something to eat. But when I finish it after 23 days, I have this amount of food on my table.
Any other questions, maybe? If not, Mato, are we ready to continue? Okay, so Epos, please stay with us, and if you have some more questions, we will have open Q&A right after the presentation of East Eric, who will join us to talk about extreme re-enchantment. Wonder if he's not going too far, if, for example, he doesn't hesitate to destroy a car. His work brings attention to new possibilities for dissidents through a relationship of forms and surfaces, which may be subtle, brash, romantic, rude, poetic, and at times funny. So East Eric is already with us, and let the presentation begin.
Hello, alors bonsoir. I was invited here, and I was making a selection of the work I was making this 25 years. So I was making some selection. It's all talk about painting inside. I never asked for permission. It was my way to express, to put down my tension. All what you will say, it's an archive, because all what I make, sometimes it's big, it's so huge, and I can bring it down. So all I got from what I was doing is a photo, is an archive, and for me it's a landscape that I was painting. So I invite you to have an aesthetic experimentation through yourself watching my picture. So this was LED that I put in the forest or in dark park in the night when you cross. LED, I don't know how do you call this. This was some tattoo I was making by putting stencil on the grass. Like, if you put something, the photosynthesis stop, the grass become white or yellow, and you can play with this, make a design, and then the light come another time, the photosynthesis happen, and 1 week or two after, it's already green. So it's a tattoo, or it's not a tattoo anymore. It's just a play of words, And it was to make something a little bit working class in a beautiful place, un peu jardin à la française, but with a raw side. So it was a Flaming and a tribal, something really classical. So this was my first try with extinguisher when I was living in Spain. So you can turn your head a little bit, you know, help me. I was having a series because I live in the forest, so there's a lot of dead animals, so I was bringing my part on. That's what you not see, you can see, and I don't know. This is what it was. It was a whole night. I was losing 3 kilos, carrying 7 extinguishers, running 4 kilometers to make this. So all you got is this. Is this little moment. So if you're not carry with enculé is like fuck you in French, and it's the decoration that you got in the time of Christmas in the streets, so it's happy feast, and we just hang something parasite, you know. We were young, it was 20 years ago, I think. It was fun. And it was the way to, you have to find battery to build an old things that work just for one photo. After we needed to put it out because the people was driving, looking at this, and they was not making the curve. So we were very afraid to have problem. This was too, I was making some explosion. My first research was explosion. And to see that there's always something aesthetic everywhere. And voila, I'm happy. So for me, what is important is not how I make the things, because this is commercial argument. It's not why I make the things, because this is personal, but why I show you this. This can be interesting. I was living in a yard, and to live for free, I needed to clean. So the boss was saying to me that I have to clean the leaves, and this is his car. Voilà. So we say, what the fuck do you do? This was another car. I wanted to put, I think I missed a photo, okay. I wanted to paint a white car with a marker. It was needing a lot of time. Shit, that we miss a photo when we were saying the car was white. Okay. This is, well, Barcelona. I was saying this, I was liking, because I live always in place where in construction. And what I see when I see this was becoming this. So it was a lot of work. I call this pink flamingo. This was when I was living with a dancer of flamenco in Spain. You know this pattern of point. I was a little bit obsessed by pattern. So sometimes I was feeling a place that I was liking to do. It was a lot of work too. Every point is 1 meter, the circumference. So for me, this is a landscape. Some try with fire extinguisher. This was abandoned wood, a little bit rotten. I always paint wood who are dead. I want to say to you, I try to, even if it's an excuse, I think. Can you go back? Martin? Il est où là? Go back. I was mixing one photo. Okay, sorry. So this was my period of monochrome, 20 years ago. And I was discovering fire extinguisher. It was a really good toy for me. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of paint, and you don't have to paint a lot of time. In 2 seconds, it's finished. Dead wood paint in green. This was a play of word because in the graffiti game there's always wall car, so I wanted to make an inside wall car. With some details, some line, you know. Graffiti is important to fill in and after make the line. This was in a village in Belgium that was deserted in some weeks because the harbor will be grow and all the village will be on the water. And so the people was living already, letting all because the government was giving them money to buy another life, another house. So all the graffiti painter artists of the Europa was going there because it was a giant playground. You know, and when I was going there, the first spot that was totally fucked up was, of course, the police station. Everybody was putting his hanger, you know. It was for free and fun. So this was a house in a kitchen. I was making this for my mother because she's a kitchen maniac. I was having a period to play with water, pigment, so I tried to paint the water in blue. Just to experiment something. It was always about aesthetic, color, and perhaps other things. Should we paint outside? I don't know. I was trying to paint water in blue another time. Sometimes shit happens. You are at the wrong place, the wrong time. Doesn't matter. to give colors to some. This was silver, paint on water. I call this Narcisse. There's a playground of somebody asked me if I can put line on a basket playground. I was having too much paint. This was a fire extinguisher action. So you can turn the head left. All right, I don't know which side you are. Just in the forest, it's I don't know the word in Slovenian. It's a hunter little house. When the hunters stay, they put some mice and they wait that the deer come and they shoot them. So we were making this one day before the hunting opening. Because they got this problem about men, you know, they don't like the pink. So we got the video because we paint inside too, in pink. Inside, outside. Voilà. You know, there are people that think that all is biodegradable. I don't know how the world that all can go. You know, they are lazy to bring this to the trash yard, so better they do this quickly. So me, I see this, I'm a little bit inspired. I try to hide it. That's nothing passing. And then I get conscious. This was the playground. I don't have the other photo. Normally it's full of color. You know, for the child, blue, red, yellow. And I was calling this Guantanamo. Voilà. So this was the preview of what I was making before. It was always to put stencil and deco that I was making for a city. So for one time I was getting a job with my field. Always some fire extinguisher. I was inviting in a chalet in Österreich. So we were trying, it was a conference and the people, and they wanted I make something, so we was having some smoke bomb. This was my way to make the landscape. This was very, very old when I was starting this street art shit. We were producing stickers with, how do you say, pickle, that you can restore on the Photoshop poster on the street a little bit of reality. So we were, I think it was in 1990, 99, we were selling stickers with a lot of airpass, all the shit possible, that you can glue in the street, on the bus stop, and on the poster of top models who are not so top. This is painting. It's fire extinguisher with pigment. It's not smoke. I try to paint a cloud, so I make white pigment, and with my camera, and I try to get the good moment. It was like I was bored in a place. It was to bring me a little bit of fantasy. But it's always something about painting. This was the, I don't know how to call this, les volites, the things that you get on seat. It's a game about on mousse, outside, inside. Okay, this was some how do you say, some carpet that you can clean your feet on. I think graffiti writer will understand. It's an inside joke. Like I tell you, I live in the forest, so no. When I see dead wood, it's don't talk about drugs. Huh? This is the first time I was timid with the photograph to do the things. And after we were having problem, and then I was deciding to work alone. Because I wanted, if it's an art edition, it's 7 pieces. And if you make more, it's become an edition. And we were having a problem because it was my painting, but it's his image. So this is his image, and this is mine. It was a publicity for McDonald's. This was for people, it was an advertisement of the Panther for Cartier. So I would make it in pink. It's very old, I think it's from 2001. Pardon means sorry. A reminiscence. This was from 2001. A lot of people think it has to be against the war because it was the attempt of the tower. It has nothing to do. I was having a problem with the conservator of there, and I know that they hate pink. So it was purely ego. But this picture was making the turn around, and it was making a little bit light on me. So it's good. This was in Barcelona after a big storm. A lot of tree in the park was falling down. So they were cutting the tree and letting this like this. So it was for months like this. And the day I was painting this, 2 days after, they was removing this and cleaning this. So I helped the city. This was another game with piece and pigment. I wanted to be my own pencil. It's called Greenpeace, haha. Having a girlfriend who was happy to play. So you need to drink a lot of water, and to be timing, which it's not so easy. Oh, this is really old. Some design, street design. Went up, huh? I was having a big father smile. I was thinking that there's a lot of people who are not considered in the city, so I was making in a carpet a parking place for thieves. That I was painting on front of the bank, you know? Because when there's a traffic jam, it's always shit that, you know, it's always good to have a nice place to do what you have to do. This is old too. This was more, yes, fire extinguisher, fun, architecture, and voila. I'm happy with really few, you know. A bit of stone, paint, I'm happy. Classical graffiti, huh? This is another view from the train compartment. Okay, this was the other side when it was parked. I think everybody was dreaming from this. early year of graffiti, how to paint a car with just one spray can. Okay, a reminiscence from the red light. I think it's clear, no? Because in Germany you can buy all stuff from the military or from the police, but you have to repaint. So, like this, it's legal, because you don't have the word in interior. Okay, voilà. So, merci.
Thank you very much, Eric. Unfortunately, we are a little bit over time, so let's make a short 5-minute break. And I would like to thank Christian, Eric, and Epos for their presentations, also Helena as well. And if you have some questions for them, unfortunately, Christian will be disconnected in a few moments, but other three you can catch in this 5-minute break and ask them if you have some questions for them. So after 5 minutes, we'll meet back here again for the third panel. Thank you.